Today we have with us Mr. Anil Kansara, expert in the field of precious metal refining, who has amazed wealth of knowledge in refining, and he has lot of project consultancy work, and he owns his own refinery. There's no words to tell him about except a word called an expert in refining. So good morning, sir. Welcome you to India Gold Conference. What changes has been happening in the Indian bullion refining industry across globe? In bullion refining across globally in India since 2024 IGC to 2025 IGC.
Yeah.
Can you just give an abstract what are the developments, challenges, and opportunities?
Indian refining, as such, if you know, it started from 1992. Before that, there was a Gold Control Act. There was no refining existing in India. And there was some operating only at the government level, like India Government Mint. And there were 4 mints in the world, India, which were actually handling all unrefined gold. There was no import happening in country till 2012. So what has happened after 1992, the refining sector was open, there are certain challenges, that excise duty, these, that, And so, but yes, then to 1994, the government actually opened up the import of gold by the banks, the nominated agency. But then the floor was open. There's so many refineries came up, but the growth of refinery initially was very hazardous. Very few organized refineries were there. They were competing against the unorganized refineries. Later on in 2012, around the government allowed to import gold doré into India. That's why we say refining conference. Basically, the refineries are more dependent on the import of gold doré. And India, fortunate to have a local domestic market, also very well domestic local market with a scrap generation. So in all, if it's true, the Indian gold sector, refining sector particularly, there are almost about 1,200 tons of gold being churned around every year. And we have almost about 20% of that is going to get exported in form of jewelry. So yes, India, after China, basically is one of the largest market for gold consumption, gold refinery. And in the organized sector today, Bureau of Indian started after 2015 when the gold monetization scheme was launched. The Indian government through Bureau of Indian Standards started giving license to the refineries, which are basically organized. They have certain minimum benchmark requirement, quality level requirement, ISO following system, and pollution environment. So all those licenses were necessary to get an approval from BIS. So now we are telling that we have refineries which have, so far as the quality parameters are concerned, we are as good as any other refinery. Say LBMA, for example, we say yes. So far as the technical parameters concerned, we are as good as anybody in the world. Now basically what we are looking at now, that these refineries which are working in India have to come. To meet the global expectations, we need to get into a system where gold is a very high valued item. That a lot of transparency has to be there. We need to source gold, whether you source locally from the domestic market, whether you source gold in form of doré, or you are sourcing gold from in a refined form. So all type of gold comes in different forms in India. We need to have something which is called as responsible gold guidelines. There's a lot of things available on the net, but to follow that practice, there are certain challenges, which I think the policy of the government somewhere makes some issues like doré import or refined gold import, because it's always restricted in India. It's not open for everybody. As the government banks, they are the nominated agencies. There are certain other requirements. So basically, but the Indian business as such cannot import anything without a license. But there is something in which, and then there are custom duty problems. There are some other GST problems here and there. Not problems basically, but you have a lot of compliance to do that. So we want as a refinery, I think probably the Indian refinery sector will definitely grow more and more. You can see that happening here in this conference. A lot of people from Aero now come. Even the LBMA now has a regular presence in India Gold Conference. They also give very good opinion about us that okay, India is a growing field. There is, I think probably if we cannot match LBMA, at least we have an Indian good delivery standard, which will allow us to go to that level. Where somewhere we say, okay, we are as good as Indian good delivery gold is as good as any other gold in the world. We have our own standards which we follow, and then deliver our gold to the outside world. At the moment, India does not allow Indian good delivery gold to be exported. Refined gold is not exported out of India. But over a period of time, we say we will become a supplier of even refined gold to the outside world. Also, like we do, jewelry export is already happening. We wish that with the government policy allowing
the standard
refined gold to be exported to other countries. I think this field has much more scope, because again the refining sector in India, again the refining itself is a what you call the job oriented. It creates a lot of job opportunities.
Value addition.
Value addition is there. So we looked at this value addition. Actually, basically, we can even get more when India start exporting even refined gold outside. So that's my basically idea on the refining sector. Yes, the future is bright, but only if the refineries which come up now or in the future or which are existing now, they all have to come under a certain benchmark level, which many private agencies like WGC, there are some other independent organizations which are trying to basically get the entire gold sector, mainly because India does not produce anything.
Yes.
They start from imported gold, whether it's in doré form or it's refined gold. From there it goes to the end customer. So in between, whatever the channel is there, everybody has to fall into one line. Then only the gold business will be recognized world over that okay, India is following the world standard on ethical sourcing,
Ethical and transparency.
ethical business practices, we do environment control, ESG requirements. Basically. So that's more, I believe, we are placed at the moment.
So now, because at this point, whether India should reduce its dependency on doré and focus more on scrap recycling, because the huge, given the potential of jewelry holdings in India, and people tend to exchange old gold for new gold. It's a continuous process. So you see more of scrap recycling potential in India for refineries in going and reduce the dependency on doré.
Yeah, that's what we initially, when we went to the government for allowing us to import unrefined gold, we say unrefined gold is two types. One is in form of doré, which is coming directly from the mining company. Then it's called doré. If it is coming from any other sources which is going as a recycling happening, we call it reprocessing. That old gold, which is in the form of jewelry being sold in the market, and they collect scrap.
Correct, yeah.
So scrap import in India is not allowed at the moment because there are certain technical issues. That
Scrap is within India itself.
So how? Yeah, within India, scrap, yes, we have a very big market. Almost about, I think roughly about 200 to 250 tons of scrap coming. But that's the only thing which counts, because in India, particularly a person buys a jewelry at least for next 5-10 years.
He doesn't.
He does not sell it out. So there's a limited market, but anyway, again, the 20% of gold consumption in India is coming only from the using a scrap market. So one way of looking at it, we cannot increase scrap, but again, the GMS scheme, which was already launched in 2015, that all this jewelry which has been lying with the people in India, and we are talking about 25,000 tons, of which at least even 1,000 tons comes into the market.
Annual basis.
India will reduce that import duty, and become self-independent. Maybe, I think probably GMS had certain lacunas in the system. The association or the gold sector, basically the association put together with IBJ, then you have our refinery association together. We have Indian Jewelry Association also.
IGC.
We try to go to the government and tell them that how the GMS can be revived now. Which are certain flows in the system, people were not comfortable with pledging that gold there. The main idea was that gold, we said your gold will be melted. They said no, we don't want to do that. Then there's a gold deposit scheme available where the jewelry goes them, they take money. Again, after some time, that gold jewelry is returned to them. But we still believe that about 70% of the jewelry which is not actually in the current trend, which is still is possible to have that kind of jewelry out into the system and convert it into refined gold, delivered to the bank, delivered to the consumer. Yes, there's a very big potential available there. And everybody, including the government, is very keen to see that the recycled gold comes in the market and reduce dependence on import. Because India does not have mines, so we'll be always an importing nation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.